7 Days Rebellion in song, and this song, the Foggy Jew, the seminal song of 1960. And the song, the ballad, was written by Father Charles O'Neill, and he was a priest that knew all of the men and women that were involved in the insurrection. And he wrote a wonderful song, a wonderful ballad. I've been singing it all my life. And, you know, to understand why the songs would mean so much to the Irish people, you have to remember that they are, in many ways, are memorials to the courage and bravery of these men and women. They are a tribute in music, and it's important for us to remember them. We couldn't, in times gone by, we couldn't remember them in any other way. We couldn't erect memorials to them. So the songs, indeed, in many ways, are our living memorials to our respect, our tribute that we pay to those who fought and died for our liberty. Now, no America, no New York, no Easter Rising. It's as simple as that. Professor Joe Lee from the Kluxman House said these words back in 2016. The freedom of Ireland would not exist if it wasn't for the moral and financial support given by Irish America. The generations of dispersed, deposed, deported and dispossessed people in America were the ones that supported and financed, indeed, our aspirations for freedom. And it's also true to say that America probably wouldn't have its freedom except the Irish exiles in America, because most military men would agree that without Irish support in George Washington's army, he would not have won American independence. And which is even more important is that when the British government attempted to retake the colonies in 1812, the presence of Irish diaspora and deposed and deported and dispersed people was such a significant, indeed, part of the army that when the English were defeated. They were defeated in New Orleans by Andrew Jackson. The two generals that accompanied them were Coffee and Carroll. Both indeed had Irish roots. And the man who beat them in the north, up in Lake Champlain, was Thomas MacDonagh. And so it's fair to say that America and the independence of America and the independence of Ireland have been interlinked since those times. And that's the reason that Wolfe Tone went to America in 1795. He went to see how they won their freedom, and he found indeed eager hands and help. Indeed, the greatest help he got was from the future President James Monroe, and James Monroe indeed facilitated Wolfe Tone in Paris and secured an armada that unfortunately went and ran into a hurricane in 1796. Otherwise, we would have been spared the horrific, indeed, conditions of the starvation of our people in the 19th century by an uncaring government in Westminster. Now, in many ways, the Foggy Jew, indeed, the song has epitomized for me the struggle for our liberty. It was the title of the first song that the first LP that we ever made back in the 1964, the Wolfe Tones, and I was very proud of it. I'm very proud of the fact that I was leader and frontman of that band for 38 years, 38 wonderful years, and the first album, the Foggy Jew, and the one that followed it, The Rights of Man, and Up the Rebels, it set indeed a standard, and a standard for the band that was to last for a generation. So the Foggy Jew was the song indeed that set that in motion. I want to, before I finish, I want to just say that when I was performing in Canada, in White Rock, near Vancouver in Canada, a man came up to me and his name was Harry Heaney. And Harry said to me, "Derek, I want to share some information with you." And I said, "What's that, Harry?" He said, "You know, in 1940, he said, before I left for Canada from Glasgow, he played football with Celtic in Scotland. He said, before I left, I was at a funeral of a man by the name of Harry Loney. And Harry Loney was a steeplejack. And Paddy Loney was a steeplejack. Paddy Loney was a steeplejack, and he was given the job by Padraig Pearse to hoist the flags over the GPO. And like hearing this from Harry Heaney was a revelation to me, because I'd never heard of this story before. So Paddy Loney apparently was also a member of the IRA, and he was on the run for most of his life, and that's why we never heard his name. But it does resonate correctly, because I always knew from reading and from talking to my good friend Eamon McThomas, who lived down the road here, just around from Bulfin Road. I often knew from talking to him that the flag at one end of the GPO was hoisted by Eamon Bulfin, because Bulfin Road, and we knew the associations of Bulfin Road with the Bulfin family. And so to get this words from Harry Heaney was a wonderful, complete picture. So what Pearse done was he sent the steeplejack up, he put, and they had Eamon Bulfin with him, and there were two flags hoisted, one at one end, the Irish Republic, and one at the other end, the tricolour. And so it completed for me a story, and my thanks to Harry Heaney. And it also completed the wonderful picture that I had of these men in the GPO. And lastly, I want to say, having spoken to many people who were actually there present in the GPO, when talking to Eamon, he knew so many of the volunteers that I almost felt the presence that I knew these people, and the importance that songs played for them. They sung songs in the GPO. They sung them when they came here. They sung them down in Kent Fort. In fact, it was often said that it was songs indeed gave the volunteers the inspiration and the power to continue to fight. So the Foggy Jew is probably the seminal song for me of 1960, and I've been proud to sing it. So it's a song that I could never leave out if I had to pick songs that commemorate the courage, bravery of the men and women of the Easter Rebellion. Thank you.